what's up, everybody? I am Jesse J. I'm at the DTS base here in Cimarron, Colorado. It is absolutely beautiful. We get up in the morning and we look around during our quiet time, and I'm blown away about God's creation.
What's up, people? My name is Adrian Johnson. I'm from Houston, Texas. First time being in Colorado, and I'm enjoying it. It's so beautiful, so peaceful.
All right, my name's Ross Kistner, and I'm up at DTS, and we're having a really good time. We're learning a lot more about God and a lot more about how He loves us.
Okay, my name is Valerie, representing the great state of Oregon, and God has been teaching me how to have faith in finances.
Throughout the last 3 to 4 weeks that we've been here, God has really moved through this place in an incredible way. It's a discipleship training school, and while it is about having fun and learning about work duties, it's also about learning to be a true disciple.
Hi, my name is Jerry. I'm here with the 2009 Team 1 DTS.
Hi, my name is Chantel, and God has been teaching me how to hear His voice and be obedient.
Hey guys, Jesse C. Just hanging out up at DTS at Cimarron. It's pretty awesome up here, learning a lot about God and His character and how to listen to His voice.
And part of being a true disciple is learning what faith means. And faith to us has become the unshakable confidence in the character of God.
I'm Anne Miranda, and God is teaching me how to just trust in Him, and He's healing me. Yay! So exciting.
Hi, I'm Danielle. Some things God has been doing is showing me how much He loves me and showing me how to view myself as beautiful through His eyes and not through the world's eyes.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Yamaguchi, and God is teaching me about His love, and it is like a flower, and that I can blossom into it, and He has prepared me for marriage.
Hello, my name is Wade Yamaguchi, and this DTS for me has been preparing to get married. Woo!
Through this time, we have learned that when God is in us and He powers us up, we can do immeasurably more than we could ever fathom, dream, or ask for. I know I'm having a great time. Everybody else is. We're learning, we're loving, and we're just we're trying to follow Jesus and walk in His footsteps as best that we can. I'm gonna go eat some bugs or some worms or something. Bye, guys.
Oh, come on, that's not bad.
Unmistakable, unbreakable, unshakable confidence in the one who made you right, love that's out of sight, one who makes you right deep inside. Unmistakable, unbreakable, unshakable.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. You guys doing good? Yeah, one person, Brett, is doing very good. Maybe the rest of you are waiting for me to grammatically say it correctly. Are you doing well? Oh, see, that's it. You guys are just a bunch of grammar snobs. That's what it is. All right. Well, my name is Nate, for those of you who might be new, and I do the teaching here typically on Wednesday nights. And as Megan said, this is Kaleo. The idea is that you are called by God, is that God created you with a purpose, and He is calling you to a purpose. And just want to kind of sum things up, because we're in the spiritual gifts series right now. And if you haven't been in on the series, or maybe you haven't been in on church for a while, spiritual gifts is kind of a little out in left field. So it's a little bit out there. It's not exactly the first topic you want to come across. It can all sound kind of weird because that's when it talks about speaking in tongues and prophecy and healings and miracles. And it's what you see on TV when a guy puts his hand on the forehead of a person and then they fall over and shake. And that's really weird, and that's when you change the channel and swear you're never going to church. Some of those things are included in spiritual gifts. So if that's you, if you're new, this first time in church, and even if you're not new, it's just good to just revamp. What is Kaleo? What is the gospel? And how do the two combine? And that is that we believe here on Wednesday nights that every one of you, the number one call in your life is that you're called to worship. Is that God created you to worship. And that specifically, he created you to worship him. And worship's kind of a church word, but Frank Sinatra uses it in his Fly Me to the Moon song. And he says, "You are all I worship and adore." If you've ever been in love with someone, if you are in love with someone, it's a little bit like that. It's like that's all you can think about. You kind of get a little bit emotional when you think about whoever you're adoring. You're just a little bit in love with them. You're a little bit kooky. You're a little bit weird. Your friends don't want to hang out with you anymore because you're just like, you don't stop talking about the person. And they're like, yes, we know, yeah, John, he's great. He's real great. Now can we talk about something else? It's a little bit like that. Is that God in the beginning, with Adam and Eve, starting at the very beginning, and you guys have heard that story, I'm sure, no matter where you're at in the church process. You've heard about Adam and Eve, and there's a lot of myths about them, stuff that's not necessarily biblical, just kind of assumptions because it's so deeply rooted in our culture, is that Adam and Eve were, number one, created to be with God and to enjoy God in the Garden of Eden and to enjoy what God had given them in the Garden of Eden. And that all of us, like Adam and Eve, we share that part of us. That we are created as spiritual beings as well as physical beings to enjoy God and to worship him. And so there's this very, very natural, innate part of us that whether you believe in God or not, there is a part of you that yearns for worship. And that would explain why a lot of people enter in relationships continually. Or why, how many thousands, 18,000 people would go nuts in the Staples Center over some really creepy guy who was extremely talented at one point, Michael Jackson. Is that there is a part of you that wants to connect, that wants to yearn for something bigger and really enjoy that bigger thing, really love that bigger thing. But the sad side is that like Adam and Eve, all of us have had that part in us, but all of us have chosen at some point in our life to disregard God and to not worship him and to not enjoy him, but to enjoy other things, to worship other things that are out there. For a lot of people, it can be money. Like I said, it could just be relationships. It could be yourself. Really, ultimately, all things come back to ourselves. We want money, not because we're totally so much in love with money, but because it serves us. Even though we end up serving money in the end, money serves us. It buys us cars. It buys us houses. It buys us iPods. It buys us laptops. And so we serve money and we worship money because it provides us with our needs. And that's why we worship it. We worship another person because that person makes us whole. That person loves us back and makes us feel really wanted and really important. And so really the ultimate goal of that is our own worship. And that you could go through anything. You go through drugs and alcohol. It's all about our own enjoyment. So we worship those things. We give our time and our attention, our enjoyment in those things. And that every one of us rebels in that way from God differently, diversely. I don't have a drug issue, right? But I certainly have my other rebellion issues. Some of you are not codependent. You don't need that relationship with someone. In fact, you are independent. So someone might be codependent and you worship yourself and rebel against God in your independence. You're so into yourself, you don't need anybody. And so there's so many ways that this rebellion expresses itself. And it creates humanity to be so diverse like humanity is. But the good news and what we really stand here on, the rock, the foundation that we stand on, is that God could have just chucked us out the door and said, goodbye, you're a bad lover, see you later, I'm going to break up with you. Instead, he sent his son. And the Bible speaks of Jesus as the image of the God who is invisible, the God who can never be seen because he's that complex, that other dimension, otherworldly, beyond our brains, cannot be seen and have us live, that he sent his son who was the visible form of himself and was perfect like God. Absolutely perfect. And sent him to die for us, the perfect to die for the imperfect, so that we could get back together with God. You know, you break up and then we make up. And that's what Jesus was for, and that's what we stand on, and that's who we believe in. And that what we stand for in Kaleo is that we are now living, we are reunited to that call to be worshipers and lovers of God. But just like in our rebellion we are diverse, in our love for God, we're also diverse. And this brings us to our spiritual gifts talk. Is that every one of you has a different gift. You have a different way in which you excel in loving and adoring God. And that every one of us needs each other. I love talking about God. I love going through his word and unlocking the things I discovered in the Bible about Jesus. I love going, guys, did you know this? Guess what? This verse, I just read it. You might think it means this, but it doesn't mean that. And I get really excited when new translations of the Bible come out, right? That's not most of you. Okay, that's completely understandable. I get excited when I sit down with, if you're looking in your bulletin, the systematic theology book, which is like 800 pages discussing theology, and I'm just like, oh, this is so amazing. Look at, there's argument and counter-argument. That is awesome. And the rest of you are like, dude, you're weird. That's not cool. But you guys need a gifting such as mine to build up your theological understanding. Likewise, and it's interesting that tonight we're talking about 3 things that I am horrible at that are spiritual gifts. Okay, we were sitting around and talking about the state of the Christian church amongst the younger population, and my response was, after going on this whole rant, was wake up, get over it, you are not the individual snowflake that your youth pastor told you were. So encouragement, service, or helps, actually. Encouragement, helps, and mercy, which is going to be the third one we talk about, because I was a slacker and didn't get my notes in on time, hence not good at the service side of things. I don't serve my media team very well. I turn my stuff in late. And it should be helps, mercy, and encouragement. But I am not good at any of those. Get over it, you little individual snowflake who's really not that great in the end, is not mercy. Not much of encouragement, but it might be biblical. And that's what I'm about, right? And so likewise, I need you mercy people and you service people and some of you who are good at encouragement to help fill in the gaps where I lack. I'm the hand that grasps and you're the foot that walks. And together we form the church. We form this as we all worship in our individual way, we form this orchestra of worship. I'm the loud gong. Right, I'm this guy, right, just banging my cymbals. But I need the flute, and we need the bass. And together we form this orchestra of worship to God so that we can actually present a whole worship to him. And that's what the gifts are, and that's what we're about. And that's what this series is about. So, as I said, tonight we're going to talk about helps. I'll discuss that, what that is, define it, mercy and encouragement. But I want to remind you guys of our one common, our guideline, which is really 2 guidelines that become one, like the great commandment, is that spiritual gifts were given to God's glory by his grace. That God gives them to us freely so that by them he may get more glory. The other side of that, however, is